The directions to this one are to evaluate, and for these problems we're going to grab our calculators and calculate whatever that value happens to be. In order for us to do that, we do need to know how to get those typed in. And that is not always super easy, kind of depends on your calculator a little bit. If you have one of the newer Texas Instruments calculators, you will be able to type this in exactly the way that it is. If you don't, then you need to use something called the change of base formula. And even if you have one of the new calculators, if you can't figure out how to get it typed in exactly, if the format is not super easy, you still can write this and type this into your calculator the way that I'm going to show you. So if you're not sure how to evaluate log base 8 of 16 on your calculator, and you're not sure if you have the ability of typing it in exactly the way that it is right here, then these are the steps that you're going to want to do. So, scientific calculator, one of the older Texas Instruments calculators. In order for you to do log base 8 of 16, what we would like to do is calculate something using log base 8. But if you look at your calculator, and this would be true of scientific calculators also, there is a log button and a natural log button. Right now we're doing nothing with natural log. We haven't covered that yet. So the button we want to use is this log button. But if you look at it, there is no base to the log. This isn't log base 8 or log base 5. It just says log. And we know if it just says log, it's actually log base 10. So this button on your calculator that says log is log base 10. If there's no base written in, it is log base 10. They just don't write it in sometimes. So if you only have a log base 10 button on your calculator and you're trying to evaluate something that's log base 8, how do you do that? Well, you need to use something called the change of base formula, because what the change of base formula will allow you to do is change the base of your log. We only have a log base 10 button on our calculator to work with, and we need log base 8. So we need to somehow change the base so that we can use that button. And here is what the change of base formula says. If you have log base b of x, so that's basically what we have here. We have log base 8 of 16. Excuse me. So in this problem, the base of the log is 8. That's like the b here. And we are doing log base 8 of 16. That's like the x here. So how do you use the change of base formula? Well, it ends up being a fraction. And you can do log of x over log of b. So again, the log that's here is log base 10. So you could rewrite this as a fraction using log base 10. So if we just kind of follow what we have here and do this problem, we have log base 8 of 16. That's going to be equal to a fraction. On the top part of the fraction, we have the log of this value here, which is the 16. So this is going to be equal to log of 16. And again, this is log base 10. I'm just not writing the 10 in there. That's the same as the log button on your calculator. And then on the bottom, we have another log, and it's log base b, which is the base of the original log, which is 8. So now I'm going to write this as log of 8. And again, both of these logs are log base 10. That's the button that's on your calculator. So this is literally what we're going to type in. Log base 16 divided by log of 16 divided by log of 8. If you're going to say it with the base in there, both of these are log base 10. So this is log base 10 of 16 divided by log base 10 of 8. So let me grab the calculator. And then using our log button here, I'm going to do log of 16. So you just hit the log button. When you do that, the calculator, on most calculators, will say log, sometimes with a parenthesis there. And we want to do log of 16. And then I'm going to close that parenthesis off. So log base 10 of 16, hit the log button. And then in the parentheses do a 16. And then we have this big division, big fraction. So I'm going to hit the division button. And then on the bottom we want log. So hit the log button again. And then 8. So let me slide that down so you can see it a little bit better. Yeah, let me tip it up so it's not quite so glaring. So taking a look at what I have typed in there, actually let me get it up so it's at the top of the screen. So I'll do log 16 divided by log 8. So that is equivalent. Using the change of base formula, I have log 16 divided by log 8. When I hit the enter button, I will now have a decimal approximation for that. Our book is not consistent with how they represent that answer. If you can write it exactly as a decimal, you should, and we can with this one because it's 1.3 repeating. So we could write it as 1.3 with that bar over the top for our final answer. If this is not a repeating decimal or a terminating decimal, then round it off to 2 decimal places and just approximate it as best you can. Let me do one more of those. So let's do log base 7 of 13. So again, I don't have a log base 7 button on my calculator. If you do, you can just type it in that way and you'll be good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and type this in the way that I did the last problem. I can type this in using the change of base formula. It's going to be log base 10 of 13, or log 13, divided by log base 10 of 7, or log of 7. And then once I get that typed in, we will have our answer. So I'm going to grab my calculator here, and I'm going to type that in. So I'm going to do the log button, and we have 13, close the parentheses off, divided by log of 7. This is not a repeating decimal, so I'm just going to round it to 2 decimal places. Looks like about 1.32. So on your calculator, the only log buttons that we have are the log, which is log base 10, and natural log. We haven't talked about natural log yet. That's in an upcoming lesson. So the only button we're going to be using is log, and that again is log base 10. If you are calculating and evaluating something that's log base 10, you can just hit that log button. But if it's a different log, like this one was log base 7, then we need to use the change of base formula to change that into log base 10. Again, these 2 logs that I have here, the ones that I typed into my calculator, they're both log base 10, or just log. So we've gone from something that was log base 7, we don't have a button for that, and using the change of base formula, we've been able to evaluate that using log base 10.